Hi friends, I'm back today again with another topic of writing. Since I believe writing is actually the topic where we need actual guidance to start with. Last time when I was there, I discussed about the first part, and that is generic statement. So in Ielts Writing Task 2, I'll again start with three layers of the same. The first is you need to understand structure. The structure has to be in four different paragraphs. The first paragraph has to be introduction. The second paragraph is your first body paragraph, which we call BP1. The second one is, that means the body paragraph, is the second BP2, and the last is conclusion. I again start. And the first one, that is introduction. Then first body paragraph, which is called as BP1. Its second body paragraph, then it is BP2. And the last is conclusion. Let's start with introduction part today. How to have a perfect introduction for writing task 2 of IELTS. So in writing task 2 of IELTS, you have to first of all a generic statement. In generic statement, you will mention more about what this idea is more or less all about. For example, yesterday I discussed that if I have a question which is linked to employment, so I'm going to talk about that job market is highly volatile. Therefore, in the present time, more men and women are competing for similar job profiles. This essay elucidates or delves into the question type, right? So let's discuss. The first is generic statement. As I explained earlier, today I'm going to discuss the rephrasing part. Rephrasing is actually a technique which is not only important in your writing but also in your reading, listening, and speaking. So the way we have heart in our body, similarly we have rephrasing in IELTS. Let's start with the same. The very first question I'm going to give you, and that is, these days more and more local people do not visit art galleries and museums. Can you rephrase this statement? I still repeat, these days more and more local people do not visit art galleries and museums. So I'll change the word more and more local people to natives or indigenous people. And the word these days can be replaced by in the present scenario, of late, nowadays, in the contemporary world, these days. These are the ways to replace with particular sentence these days. Second is I have used more and more, local people. So I'll say more and more natives, or I'll just say natives, or I'll say indigenous people. The question is do not visit the art galleries. So I write they do not have affinity towards these art galleries, museums, or I'll say places of national cultural heritage, or the places which actually depicts the glorifying past of a nation. So when you have this part of or the technique of something, this is called as rephrasing. Although I do understand this last question was tough to have the first way of rephrasing, so I'll give you some easy types of rephrasing. Let's say an example, and that the question is these days people are getting obese. Let's rephrase this statement again. The word is these days. So we'll write in the present scenario, people are vulnerable to all sort of consequences of eating too much, and one of them is obesity in them. So this is how you have to rephrase. So what is rephrase all about? Rephrase is all about that you have to select vocabulary from your own vocabulary bank, so that whatever the question says, similarly your idea is the same with the selection of your own vocabulary words. And one important thing, that meaning of the question should not be lost at all. Getting my point? That means whatever you're going to rephrase, it has to be just alike the question. The idea of the question and the idea that you have rephrased are just similar and have similar meaning, which is going to be conveyed. Clear? Let's go for one more example. And the question is, let's say these days people are less concerned about their families, and that's why they are migrating to other places of the world. So there is one way they have given an example, like these days people are less concerned, that's why they're migrating to other places of the world. I can also mention that these days more and more immigrants are seen in other parts of the world, because those who migrate can be used with the word, or can be superseded or replaced with the word immigrants. So the whole idea that I would like to convey before moving on for the rephrasing, the first thing that you need to know is you need to have very good vocab. If you have very good command over your vocabulary, or I would say you have extensive range of vocabulary, it seems pretty easy for the people who have range of vocabulary to have rephrasing just in few minutes. But this happens with student in this way: 40 minutes are given and the question is just in front of you. When you start with the rephrasing, you just take more than 7 minutes, and that's where you are mistaken, because if you spare more than 7 to 8 minutes on introduction, that means your time for writing the body paragraphs would reduce, tends to get down. It would be just 10 minutes for each body paragraph, and this 3-4 minutes for the final part of conclusion, since you need time to think about ideas. That's why when you are a beginner, you just want to start with your Ielts practice and you would like to score really good in your writing part, be it 7 or 8 bands, you just need to work on one thing: take 10 questions, try to rephrase and get it checked from your trainer. If that's not possible, you're practicing back at home, just rephrase the question statement. Try to take it yourself once, that what I have written and what is there as a question statement, both of the things do symbolize similar sort of meaning or context. Thank you so much, guys. I'll be getting back for the next video where I'll discuss plan of action. Once I cover plan of action, that means the 3 important components of writing task 2 and introduction paragraph would be over. That means you must be fairly okay with generic statement, and then finally your rephrasing, and last but not least is your plan of action. Thank you. Bye bye.